welcome to I'd Back That Kickstarter with Gloryhound and
DrGloryhogg.
Totally forgot to run the tabletop backer party thing. I pushed the button too early, so
I know you freaked me out. I was like,
you're like, oh my gosh. The show is sponsored by Tabletop Backer Party, the largest crowdfunding group in this side of the internet, you know, like
literally on this side of the internet.
On this side of the internet,
If you're on
not
the
other side.
If you're on the dark side of the internet,
side.
I don't know. What are you doing on the dark side anyways? Why are you there?
Hello to everybody in chat today. We have Nathan and Lindsay and Kabuki and Nick. There's some other people that
Alan
we said.
and Ronnie and Jeff and Papercut.
Right? Fatal Papercut, who
Bunch
did
of people.
A cannonball right into the middle of the chat.
I'm still laughing about Nick's thing. Worms. Why did it have to be worms?
For real. The Tapeworm's Kickstarter is a very streamlined sort of game.
Makes me hungry.
Well, it's a very streamlined sort of game that you know is going to hit mass market and just go like bananas. And I'm always interested to review those ones and take a look at the true like substance part of the game and if it's good for everybody, if it's good for hobby gamers as well as like a mass market, because then it's something you can introduce to everyone and get them hooked and get them to your table. As always, we have our chat open, so leave lots of comments. Tell us what you guys think about all of these Kickstarters. Gloryhogg, is there any information you want to give out?
No.
Very informative, Dr. Gloryhogg. Thank you.
Aren't we here to talk about Kickstarters?
We are. Hello, Battle Cry.
We're playing Hall of the Mountain King on Sunday.
Oh, and
is that what you're talking about?
Congratulations to Wingspan for winning all those awards on BGG. If you guys didn't see the board game breakfast thing, I will make sure and post that on YouTube because, man, Wingspan cleaning it up.
So Wingspan was weird because we got Wingspan fairly early, so we played like a crap load of it, right? We played it a bunch, and then we got to the point where like we started going to the conventions for the year, and everyone's like, "Oh, we're bringing Wingspan," and we were like, "Really? Like we've already played that like I don't know, like 20 times." So we were kind of like almost done with it. We've moved on to the next thing. But like everybody was just starting to get their Wingspan, so it's really weird when you get stuff early. You're like, oh, okay, cool, and you kind of burn out of it before everybody else even gets it.
That's right, Nathan. Wingspan was so gosh darn innovative. Okay.
Yeah. Won an award for the best game with no birds, but also with some birds.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Best game without coconuts.
But also some coconuts by African swallows, right?
Plenty of African swallow.
Maybe like a bird brought it.
All right, let's see here. I also saw.
I feel like we are really close today. Why are we so close?
Here, hold on.
Did you put these chairs so close for a reason? Valentine's Day was like a month or two ago. It's just because it's Mother's Day.
It's Mother's Day is coming up, and I need more love. I need all the love from everybody.
You already got some treats in the mail yesterday. All melted.
That's true. I love all the treats. All the treats. Oh, look, it's like we're Captain Hook right now.
Ronnie's like, hey, the BGG awards are out. No reason to look at it. Wingspan won.
Everything.
The site.
Everything.
I'm pretty sure
much.
Wingspan owns Board Game.
Wingspan probably like sponsors Board Game Geek now at this point.
Or
they're taking over.
It's the other way around. I think.
Board Game Geek sponsors Wingspan.
They won basically every award because it's, I guess, crowd-funded votes, and everyone loves Wingspan, apparently.
Okay, Alan says not everything. Yes, that is
true. There's like 2 games that it didn't win.
2 awards, probably. Possibly 3.
I'm surprised it didn't win that best party game, too. Yeah, it was on a lot of them. I was surprised. So the only one that kind of upset me, if I was to be honest with you, is the card game one. Because it is a card game, but I think of Wingspan as a board game. Because there's eggs, there's little bits that you're grabbing and everything. For card game, it should have been the crew. Like the crew, Die Crew was like such a good, innovative little card game.
I don't think
with a trick-taking game that was cooperative. I haven't seen anything like that. That could have won most innovative too, but it didn't.
Did the crew come out in 2019? Because 2019 was in Germany.
It's on the list.
Okay.
It got
all right.
It got like 2nd place in like 2 categories, I believe.
Wingspot was the juggernaut of this year. Absolutely. Paladins also got lots of 2nd places. Oh, I did not see that because
the crew got it twice for like 2nd or honorable mention.
Wingspan, 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 like all over the screen. So I didn't even actually take a look at 2nd place.
I think the crew is in the U.S. now.
It is. I believe it just got released. So you should be able to pick it up with English rules and everything.
Okay, Ronnie's got us.
Yeah, the crew was so good.
It was nominated on a couple different ones. Best Dungeon Crawl, Wingspan. Best cooperative game that has no cooperation in it?
Wingspan. That's right. Absolutely.
Best game with the word wing in it? Wingspan.
Yeah. Wingspan. All right. Let's get started for these Kickstarters. Battle cry on the account of Birds of Prey. Hello. Hi, Daniel. How are you doing? So, today we have Adventures in Neverland. Adventures in Neverland is by Black Box Adventures. This is going to be for 2 to 4 players. It lasts about 30 minutes. This is going to be a game where you can play cooperatively or you can play individually. So cooperatively, you play with one deck where you go ahead and pick one adventure and you go through, I believe. Whereas if you play against everybody, everybody picks a different deck. And this game has choices in it where you're going to be making choices. And I'm trying to remember which one had the app. I think Sea of Legends had the app.
This
one does not.
This
one has cards that you flip through.
Right.
And each deck here, you can go through it several times and make different choices, but eventually you will exhaust the deck. However, they have other decks planned for this, which is really interesting. I'm shocked Disney hasn't shut this down yet, says Alan. Well, I don't think Disney owns all of the Peter Pan entity. I mean, Peter Pan was a book, so I mean, I don't know if you can own that. It's the classic one. Isn't there like a copyright thing? Where
it's been out long enough. I think it's public domain for the general idea, like Grimm Fairy Tales, like Cthulhu. They've been out long enough that they're considered public domain.
Because they're classic things that don't have that copyright on them per how long they've been out and stuff. I don't know how many years it has to be out for. So let's see here. Oh, that's nice, Robert.
But if they used the Captain Hook from their movie, then yeah, they would have full right to shut that down. But I'm not a lawyer. I'm a doctor on the internet only.
Yes, the book is public domain. However, if they had made their characters look too close to like the Disney entity, then I would see that. But I don't believe they did in this.
Yeah, because it even says right here, it's based off of a book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a pretty looking game. Like, super. I love the map. Oh, here's the other really cool thing about this one here. As you're going through playing all these different characters, there's actually places on the map that you can end up discovering. So, like, you can end up discovering, like, the Little Mermaid area or certain little things that, like, I don't know. It's such a cool,
crocodile.
Right. It's such a cool contribution to, like, that book and bringing it into the light that, hey, there's more than just the Disney thing, like, that happened with this. Like, there's tons of different stories that went on with this. So that's always exciting as well. But you're going to have little character sheets here where you can upgrade them. And I like the fact that you have Captain Hook and, like, he only gets the one arm. What do you think about this, Dr. Gloryhogg? You're not a fan?
So, no, I was trying to think. So, as far as a narrative game goes, I keep wanting to think that I don't enjoy narrative games, but it's not true because there are a lot of narrative games that we play that I enjoy.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I might actually enjoy narrative games more than I think. I think it's the ones I don't like are the ones where you have to build a story, where you like make up the story like as you go. Does that make sense?
Oh,
story
okay,
building games,
right.
where you're like rolling die or something to make up a game or to make up a story. And this one looks pretty interesting, actually. I like that you have different character decks and that there's expansions you can get to kind of go into different characters and see different aspects of it. You've got the co-op plus then the regular version. The only thing I feel like with this one is I don't believe I got a super great sense of how the game plays. Because I believe this one was made out of the States, right? I was going to actually scroll down on the thing, but I don't want to do that because everyone's watching that. I want to say that there was only like 1 or 2 reviews. Like, am I right with this one? I think it was only 1 or 2 reviews. I noticed that with a lot of Kickstarters this week that they weren't reviewed by like a lot of people, or like in the case of Tapeworm, it was reviewed by video game companies more.
Well, here's the thing.
Than it was, you know what I'm saying? Like it was done by like IGN, I think had a review on there, and Dicebreaker, which is, I mean, Dicebreaker is really video game Eurogamer version of a board game.
Here's the thing with them not having as many reviews. A lot of companies are pulling back with their funding, and so they're not going to be able to pay for as many things happening and maybe as many production copies they send out.
True.
And it's a little bit riskier for them. So I wouldn't expect to see a bunch of Kickstarters, especially from companies that are not huge that have a whole bunch of those things listed. You know, they're picking and choosing exactly who they want with this, okay? Let's see here. I want Dawn Shade to come to Kickstarter soon. What company makes Dawn Shade? Like, I didn't hear of that one. And
Dawn Shade, the game we've seen before.
Tabletop Backer Party says, I saw the very early version of this 2 years ago at Essen. It is solid. I really like any sort of game that has a storytelling basis on this, and it's really interesting how
Yeah.
you have the. I think the most interesting part of this is how you have the different character decks, and then each one almost tells an individual story because each one's going to have the special things that happen to that character in it that are revealed, and then you make those choices. And if it doesn't go your way, you can go back and replay that deck and everything. So if you are playing this as a two-player sort of game where you work cooperatively, you have 6 different decks, I think, that you start with. And if you went cooperatively through that, that's 6 different stories.
It's not bad. And they do have expansions for it, too.
I'm excited about the different expansions that they're going. They're like, hey, we're going to be adding to this game as it goes. And I really like that as well. So
I think this is definitely one of those games. So, like, when the Rune Lords came up, I was super excited about it because it was the
Yes.
Rune Lords, right? This is another entity where, like, if you were super into this, like, intellectual property, if you're into this story, it could be good. I've watched a couple different versions of Peter Pan, like movie-wise and stuff. I've never read the book. The book is probably more in-depth, as it typically is. It's just not a fandom that I'm a super huge part of. So I don't know. I would play it. I'm not something I feel like I need to throw money at it because it's just not one of those genres that I'm super like obsessed with.
So
It's not my geekdom.
Sam says we backed this. It grabbed my attention immediately.
I
Here's
could see that.
my thoughts. You get so many board games that are this story-based storytelling board game that can become really adult, like a Tainted Grail or something like
Okay.
that. Like I'm not
Like a
going to
Grimdark.
play. Yeah, I'm not going to play Tainted Grail with my kid.
Right. There's
At
some
all,
scenarios
ever.
there. Like some of the other like Chronicles of Crime can sometimes go pretty dark, obviously. There's a lot of games that go that route. Oh, Time Stories. The first Time Stories had some really dark things kind of happening. You were like, oh man.
Right. This is a nice family, not family weight, because it has more weight to it. It has a family base to it where you can play it with anybody and they're not going to start talking about dead bodies that you rushed upon or anything like that. It's a fun, adventurous story. And it's something that I think kids can relate to, but also you have that awesome board game base of it where you are upgrading your characters. You're actually putting things in, like a Mice and Mystics. There we go.
Okay.
This reminds me.
Very whimsical.
Yes, this reminds
Okay.
me of Mice and Mystics with individual stories. Does that make sense, guys?
Oh dear God, our kid is on the internet. He goes, sup? What's up, Gloryhound?
So,
Gloryhound
Gloryhound 2 in the chat, who is actually Glory Bear, what do you think about this? Because it is a Peter Pan based game, and I really like that because it does give that whimsicalness to it, and it means I can play it with anybody. And my kid, who is a board gamer, is going to be able to sit down and play this with me and not be like, ugh, what sort of game is this? They're going to be interested in the world building, what's happening in the game, that they can upgrade their characters and that they can also outfit them, and it puts them directly into the story where they get to be villains or heroes of the game with this, know?
Well, yeah, that makes sense because like we enjoyed Mice and Mystics, but it's not something I would think that you and I would just play by ourselves. We enjoyed playing it with the kid.
Absolutely. And Mice
So
and
you feel like
Mystics,
this would kind of fall into that where it's still fun as an adult, but storyline it's kind of based off that. Or if you're a big fan of Peter Pan, which there are a lot of. I mean, I can't tell you how many women I've seen with Tinkerbell tattoos.
So
it's a lot.
That's true. Tabletop Backer Party says, yes, the art is gorgeous. Kabuki Kid says, I dig the art. Definitely digging the art, says Fatal Paper Cut. I agree with everybody. The art in this is gorgeous.
Hey, you even like the art,
so
apparently.
Pretty. And I also like the art in chat as well.
Very nice.
Robert White says, I've never been a fan of Peter Pan. It did grab my attention, but still on the fence. I definitely want to play it. Fatal Paper Cut says, I want it, but I want some other games more.
That's
That's
fair.
always the hard part. It's always the hard part.
I'm trying to think of each week as like a whole separate entity. Like I've got a budget for each week. I don't know what that budget is, but I like to think that that's what I have.
And I love it. The battle cry is like, scary things. That's what night lights are for.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I was playing. What game am I playing? I've been playing a video game with zombies in it. It's been creeping me out. I had to turn on the lights last night to go get a drink of water.
With this game here, Ellen, you have a couple of different decks that are going on where you're going to be able to pull things from different areas, okay? And let's see here.
How many
Oh,
burritos?
how many burritos is this? Good question. Good question. Tabletop backer party. So, burrito wise, let's see here. This is about 6 burritos worth because it's $60.
Yeah.
$60.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6 burritos worth.
That's like
It's
2
a
trips to
family-
Chipotle.
It's a family time adventure. You know, this one here, if you're on a light budget, like this is going to be the only one that you're going to be backing, but you do know you're going to be able to play it
That's true.
with everyone at the table. Okay, this is not going to get weird or anything.
Out of the bigger box games, this is the least expensive option. That is true.
Nathan says your budget is whatever Gloryhound tells you it is.
So that's kind of the scary thing is that she has the Kickstarter account, so I don't actually know. So sometimes stuff shows up. I'm like, when did we get this? She's like, oh, I backed it. And other times I'm like, didn't we back this thing? And she's like, oh, no, I didn't. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, but I'm all right with it. I don't really. I'm at the point where I'm getting to the point of glut where I have so many games. I'm like, I'm not even really worried about it. There's only a few that I'm like obsessed with.
The $60 version of this is the retail version. You have the Explorer version here that is $82. And I believe with this one here, because I think you have 2 different standy things. So this is the deluxe name on the side, box lid.
Deluxe gives you some wood components, gives you the tuck boxes, gives you some additional things like that. How often does this get to the table? I don't know. So like with Mice and Mystics was one that we kind of set up and then we played it like 2 or 3 times. And then like a couple days later, we played it 2 or 3 times again. So we definitely got some plays out of this. This one is not campaign based necessarily. It's more like episodic. So I think it could get to the table. I mean, at least as many times to get through the initial set of decks. At least 6 times.
Oh, absolutely. At least 6 times. And then you're going to be playing those. It almost becomes like a... gosh, what was I thinking? Not a Pandemic Legacy sort of thing, but where you want to play through each one of those multiple
kind of
times,
like campaign-ish.
You know? Campaign-ish, yeah.
I think it really, Robert, it's going to depend on how often you want to sit down and play this with either like with somebody else or by yourself or with your family group. So like if my kid was super into Peter Pan, I could see playing this a lot.
Okay, and to be honest, you guys probably are not visiting Chipotle this often right now during the quarantine, okay? So you're probably saving extra Chipotle burritos off that
I could
already.
actually order some Chipotle today, I think. It's actually a good idea.
Now, we have to buy games today. There's no Chipotle today.
I don't know if Chipotle got sued. I'm sure they're a big company. I'm sure they've been sued more than once. Pretty much everyone has been.
Yeah, I mean, probably any food company. I mean, it happens. So Kabuki Kid says the problem with burritos as currency is that it would make it hard for the Fed to make as many as needed or do quantitative easing.
God, I would love it if the federal government would seriously just send me 2 of my favorite burrito orders. Like just, they'd be like, here, this should help you out.
The government sent everybody like a little bit a stimulus. What is it?
Well, not everybody.
But not a burrito stimulus, which I totally
Right, that's what I'm
agree
saying. I want a burrito stimulus.
Burrito stimuluses during the quarantine, okay? So you're saying 2
That's what the census was for, right? Because it was like, who lives in your home? Do you have a chicken? Do you have a sofritas? Do you have a guac-only family? Like, you have to like pick what your Chipotle order is in the census, so that way they can send them to everybody.
Absolutely.
And the stimulus check was only for people of a certain amount of money and below.
Oh.
So it wasn't everybody.
Stimulus, but
hey,
stimulus
lucky
burritos.
us. We don't make enough money, so we got it.
Stimulus burritos for everyone, okay? That's what I'm going to campaign
I can tell
on.
by Alan's comment, he makes too much money and did not get it. So I feel you. There's always that weird line. I always feel bad. Like I had a good buddy that like got a raise at work, but then it bumped him to a next tax bracket. And so then he was just like, I think I'm losing money now by getting like that promotion. Like overall, I'm going to make less after taxes are done at the end of the year. So that's always economics.
Everyone in chat, I want to know if you guys are backing this.
Okay.
And Dr. Gloryhogg, would you back this game?
No, I don't think I have a spot for this on my shelf right now.
Really?
It is one that I'm interested in playing. I feel like once I got my hands on it, if I played it, that might change my mind. Like for a good example is Forgotten Waters was one that I hadn't really heard about. But once I started playing, I really got into it, and now I'm like super pumped for it.
You're jaded by Forgotten Waters is what it is. We've played it, and now you're like, well, all I want to play is Forgotten Water.
How dare you? How dare you? There's some exciting things, all right? We just got access to a copy of Spirit Island Digital, so I mean, I've got some exciting things to play.
Absolutely. Okay, this one here, I feel like it is going to make a really, really great family game. You know, if you have a family of 4 or 5, you know, even 3, whatever.
Family of 38.
Like, that's right. This is going to be a fantastic game to go ahead and play with them, and I would love to back this. There are two that I'm really excited about this week, and I think it's going to be a choice between the two, and I haven't made my decision yet. Yeah, because
I know the two that you're most interested in.
This one here looks amazing, okay? And I think that our kid's going to love it, and it's going to be something I'm going to be able to play with them. What?
It's every time. Fatal Paper Cut the Hound. Would you back this? And I'm like, no. And you're like, that's pretty much every time. Which is weird because like a lot of times we'll match up, right? Obviously because we have similar taste in games and everything. But there's times that we don't. And I'm trying to give you my honest opinion. If I was to write a check, would I write a check for this today? Not that anyone's old enough to remember writing checks, but would I hit back on this today? And I just wouldn't. I'm interested in playing it. I just don't think it's one that I would back today. I don't know where it fits into our lexicon of games.
Ronnie, we're actually interested in playing Seventh Continent here soon, so stay tuned for that.
Oh,
Let's see here. Tabletop Backer Party says, I'm downsizing, so actively passing on games I would otherwise back. So normally yes, but not now. Totally understand, especially with what's going on with the economy and everything. Like, I bet a lot of people are doing that right now. What else do we have? No money to back now. I'd play Tinkerbell if a friend has a copy.
What the heck are checks, you Victorian ghost? How dare you? I remember when the kids had to use the rotary phone.
Oh, okay. And Kabuki Kid says the Humble Bundle has a lot of board game apps currently for people wanting some digital games. Thank you so much, Kabuki
Unless you're
Kid.
like Alan, where you're like, digital games are for losers. Alan's like, if there's an app involved, I'm out. So I bet you that Alan's not backing Sea of Legends because there's an app involved.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm okay with a little bit of mixing. I will say there's some good mixing in Forgotten Waters where there's an app. I don't think you have to. No, you do have to use the app for Forgotten Waters.
You do.
I love it. It's got voice acting. I'm in love with it. I'm loving Forgotten Waters. Hashtag buy Forgotten Waters.
it's on pre-order, so people can't buy it right now.
Hashtag pre-order it. I pre-ordered it.
So I'm down for Adventures in Neverland, 100%. This game looks amazing, okay? Sea of Legends is great. The apps are fine. Okay, we're going to talk about Sea of Legends in a little bit. I'm excited about that one, too. Next up, we have Resident Evil 3. This is by Steamforged Games. This is for 1 to 4 players. It's going to last about 40 minutes. This is based on the Resident Evil IP, which is a bunch of people that are in Raccoon City and this lovely company called Umbrella Corporation.
But there's actually like no raccoons in the city, which is severely disappointing if you're in there for the trash pandas.
Insanely disappointing. You're right. I mean, all the people in here should actually be trash pandas. I totally agree with that. That was not cool of them to do that. But what they're doing is they have a bunch of mutant-like zombies taking over or getting out, I guess. There's been some experiments happening. And in this particular game, it is a dungeon crawl style game where you are some adventurers going through Raccoon City, and I use adventurers lightly. You're like some randos going through Raccoon City here, trying to avoid getting wrecked, okay? That's the best way to describe this.
Fair enough.
In this particular game,
Zombies.
They do have
mutants.
A really interesting encounter deck, because I think that's what really sets this particular dungeon crawl style game apart from the others, is that as you're going through, you are actually weeding out certain things in your encounter deck, and you start putting in things that make the encounters harder. So as you go through this deck, your deck starts getting harder and harder to play as you go through your scenario.
Okay.
Which I thought was really interesting, because you flip over cards and you're like, oh, okay, nothing happened.
So after the fallout from Raccoon Tycoon and after the stock market collapsed, that's when Raccoon City they had to release all of their mutants because they had no more funding for their secret underground labs, and that's when all this happened.
It's
so
like
really,
the
yes,
zoo.
Raccoon Tycoon happened, economic collapse, no more funding, secret lab stuff just spilling out into the streets, end of the world.
Nick says raccoons live in Human City. Like, duh, of course.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense, Nick. I got it.
All right, find the blue chess piece to unlock the gate in the garden to find the fire ammo in the med box. That's how all normal adventures work.
Pretty much.
Paper cut.
Yeah.
If I'm going to make a sandwich, I first have to go to the icy box and then pick up said meat pieces, and then also go to another box in order to get the utensils and plates to get it put together. That's how life works.
The thing that concerns me that I've learned from playing all these adventure games is that people keep their money in boxes and just like in a cardboard box or in the dumpster, but then they'll leave a safe open. with no money in it. And I just don't understand why you don't keep your money in the safe. Like, I know I might be crazy here, but I'm more likely to find gems if I break pots than if I check an actual treasure chest.
Mepper
I don't
says,
understand it.
I expected Sea of Legends to be a bad minigame. Instead, it looks really good, and I expected Dawnshade to be really good game, but now I see it's not for me. Those are really interesting thoughts on that. I got to see Sea of Legends at Gamma, so I'm excited to talk about that one. Let's hear. This game looks like it's missing something to me. Alan says, but we had QE. What happened there?
No, they're talking about how
I love QE.
it's a trilogy. Like, it's Raccoon Tycoon, QE, and then this happens.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so...
And then you're saying, alert, there's a new thing, shoot it, which that's very true for these games. I've been playing Days Gone, and it is pretty much like, alert, there's a thing and it's moving weirdly, shoot it. And that's pretty much life.
Tabletop Backer Party says, Sea of Legends is going to be one of the huge breakthroughs in sandbox-style games.
Okay.
Similar to how I felt about Western Legends. Ooh, those are some good words.
Yeah, if there was more people writing checks in this game, I think I'd be into it. So here's the weird thing about Resident Evil. I have never played Resident Evil on PlayStation. I've only played Resident Evil as like arcade style at like places like at arcade places like Dave and Buster's, like that. Like whenever it's in an arcade, I've played like the shooter games there with Resident Evil. So I never super got into it. But yeah, I've watched 5 out of 6 of the movies, I think. I might have watched every Resident Evil movie.
I stopped watching them because I was like, I can't do this.
Well, okay, so here's the deal. My tolerance for fan-based movies or like, video game IP movies was really low. And then stuff like Avengers started happening, and like, then I was like, now I actually expect them to be good. But at one point in time, I'm like, I would watch Doom. I'd watch any of those movies just because they were related off of kind of like geekdoms. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And now I'm kind of like, my standards have dramatically changed. So I've watched all the movies, but it's not something that I'm not in love with this IP. The thing I will say about this is they're basing it off of the second one that they did, because they did Resident Evil 2 also. And all of their quotes and stuff are about Resident Evil 2, which we kind of talked about, as far as maybe sending out prototypes. All their quotes are about Resident Evil 2, not this version of it. But a lot of people liked it. But then once again, the people that liked it were things like IGN and other like more video game related things. So it seemed more like their quotes and their reviewers were not board game based reviewers. They were more like just general, like, I hang out at GameStop a lot, so I'm going to review this game. It seemed like it was more video game based, which makes sense. It's based off of a video game IP. But I kind of feel like without having opinions from actual board gamers, I just trust video gamers less because they're probably casual board gamers, most of them.
Absolutely.
If you're super into video games, you probably aren't super into board games. It's a weird mix. Like, I am a casual video game player now, and I'm more of a hardcore board gamer.
Apparently, Gloryhound would only pay 2 burritos for this game.
That's it, 2 burritos.
So I think Johnny has some really interesting information about Steamforged and Dark Souls and their experience with Dark Souls and how they didn't like the minis and the gameplay was like. So, and Dr. Gloryhogg kind of tied it in with the fact that this particular game may not be for hobby gamers who know a lot more about miniature style games and want a deeper experience.
Yeah, it's for people that are at GameStop that are picking up a game and they're like, oh, this would be fun to play over a holiday break or something. It's based off people that are either into the IP or are more of casual board gamers, and they're going to probably think it's very exciting. Like, oh man, there's so much tension in the tension track. I need a little bit more. I didn't feel like I got enough about the game from the page itself to make a good, informed opinion on it. So I think it's a pass.
So no, Kabuki Kid, raccoons eat full-size burritos. That's the only burritos that they'll eat. I mean, nobody wants a little raccoon-sized burrito. Nobody wants that, okay?
No.
Alan says, I play Train Simulator on my spare time, and I like train games. So dear old dad lives on in me.
Alan, you remind me of those commercials that Progressive's doing where they're like, we can't help you not become your parents. Who else reads books about submarines? My dad. That's right.
Nathan says, between Dark Souls and Power Rangers, I've grown suspicious of IP minigames. You should be. Okay, Nathan, you should be suspicious of IP minigames. Yes, 100%. Because they are going for a certain market, and that market is people who are into those IPs. So in this case, it is people who are into video games, and they are making a board game for video game players, not a board game for hobby gamers. And you have to think of that whenever you're going into your purchase for these IP-based games. because they might not be exactly what you expect from them. And although I really like the fact that they're bringing these sort of games and getting people introduced to this sort of market. Why are you looking at me right now?
Our dog is like digging through the carpet right now.
No, he's not. Come here, Tex.
What is he doing?
He's trying to give himself a warm spot to lay in, guy.
By digging, like it sounds like he's digging in the carpet right now. It's killing me.
He needs a warm spot to lay in.
Uh,
Now I've been derailed. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Choo choo train games.
So the
Did that
people
help?
that are wanting this IP, they're going for that market. They're
Right.
making the game for that market. If you're a hobby gamer, this might not be your jam just because this is not the market for you.
They're not marketing it towards you, right?
This is not what.
There's definitely a trend to just kind of cash out on, let's add apes to this, let's add dinosaurs to this, let's add this to that, right? Those aren't necessarily for most hobby gamers because you're looking for something more in-depth. I want something that I feel at least is innovative, at least to me, whenever I'm buying a game like this. So it's got to have something I feel is unique. Reichbusters had that whole have to be silent, once the alarm goes off, everything kind of happens, blows up, kind of a weird, quirky world.
And you had like this hero
This
basis
doesn't have-
to it where you're like, all right, we're being like epic heroes versus like just people running through dungeons.
Right, it's got to have something that it adds to it, or
Right.
be a theme that you're super into, and it just doesn't hit that for me. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad. I just know that this isn't for me.
I think for this one here, the big thing for me in it was the tension portion of it, or that deck where you are building your scenario gets harder as you go through it.
But I feel like that's all scenario games. Like all dungeon delves should get harder as you get farther into it. If it's not, you're probably not playing a very good one. If things just get dramatically easier as you go through it, they did not do a very good job with game pacing. Because you never want to play a game where you're like, you start off and about the midpoint, you're like,
Dr.
I'm
Gloryhogg.
overpowered, and I just get to like wipe out everything.
Dr. Gloryhogg, do you like this game then? Would you back this game?
No, I wouldn't personally. It's one that I would try to play. You know, it's like my brother played Hellboy the other day, which is something that I wouldn't even look twice at based off of it just being like an IP game, right? But he enjoyed it, and so, you know, for him, it really worked out. I think it's one that you'd have to play. You really got to play a lot of these IP games to figure out if they're really worth it if you took the IP off.
This game, it looks cool. It looks like they have game trays in it. It has a few interesting mechanics to it. I think if you like the IP, then you would want to try this game out, but also expect some of the things that we mentioned with it. If you are a hobby gamer, don't expect this to be a hugely in-depth sort of technical game, because it may be lighter because they are gearing it towards a video game based market.
The best thing it has going for it is that it's based off a Resident Evil 2 board game, so you can go watch reviews for that, gameplay for that, you can read up on BGG for that, and if you like that and you like what you see there, then you can be confident backing this one.
Absolutely.
That's the best thing this game has for it. You can actually see ahead of time how it plays and everything by looking at the second version of this game. This will be the third.
I don't think the Planet of the Apes game got fully funded. I think it
No.
went up and it got funded, but then it may have like went back down because there was some shadiness that happened.
Right, that's what you're saying, the death of, like, it got shut down.
Absolutely. Because that one was was not something that I would.
There were some red flags in that one. It didn't seem like they had the rights to it, but
for me, this particular game does not do enough for me because, one, I'm not going to end up playing it with my kid or other people. I'm not hugely into the Resident Evil IP for myself, but if I was, I would definitely be interested in looking at this game more. But for me, this is going to be a no backing because, man, I got to spend my bucks someplace else this week.
This is how I know that I'm super old, because my kid's on there doing buffering, chill with cat, and then there's another one, hashtag overpower boss, buffering. I have no idea what's happening. I am out of it.
Apparently,
I barely know how hashtags work.
I'm just spamming the channel.
I don't know what overpower boss buffering means. Is buffering like an emoji that we're just not seeing through chat? I'm very confused. Like,
all right,
what is happening here?
Moving on. Oh, this game starts at $82, everyone. So moving on, we're gonna get to something interesting. Oh, and let me know in the chat if you.
Gloryhound is dropping like pictures. That's why it's saying buffering and stuff. Got it. Got it.
Let me know in chat if you guys would have backed that game, because for the most part, I don't think that you guys were looking at backing it, because we do have a bunch of hobby gamers on this channel. All right.
True.
Moving on, we have Sea of Legends. This is the one everybody's so excited about. This is by Guildhall Studios. It's for 1 to 4 players. It's going to last about 40 minutes. This one is all about pirates, and you are making yourself a little pirate in your little pirate boat, and you're hiring on your crew, and you're going around the waters. And I love that you can run into your, what is it? It's either your love interest or your nemesis in this game. Oh my gosh, I love that part so much. The miniatures in this look amazing. I saw this at Gamma. It was an immediate pull to it.
I could see that.
The minis look fantastic. You have these giant minis out there as well as like these smaller ones, and each person, like, you can play as that super like evil bad guy looking person. Like, it, I like the fact that not everybody looks like a superhero. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look piratey. Does that make sense at all?
I think the things that this game has going for it is that you've got Nemesis on one side, and then you've got
the love interest.
On the
yeah,
other
the love
side.
interest on the other side.
So just that kind of duality where you can play like that, you can play with that same person could potentially be like, I think it'd just be really cool to play at one time where that person's like your lover, and then the next time you play, like, they're your nemesis, and so now you're like, it just adds a little bit of something when you bring out the game the next time. And then there's multiple different NPCs that you have to watch out for, and that there's 7 different ways to gain points, basically, to win and end the game. So there's a lot of different things going for it that I think is interesting. Very, like, sandbox game-wise. I think the only thing for me personally is, if this would be about Westerns, it would just be better.
Oh, wow.
If you were getting posses together. I don't know why I like Westerns more than pirates, because it's the same kind of idea, like where you're robbing trains, instead you're robbing ships. But there's something about being on the water that I just like less about being on a stagecoach. I don't know what it is.
This would not work the same as a Western. It would not. No.
Have you not played
Red
Dead Redemption? Well, you haven't played Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption, this would totally work as a Red Dead Redemption reskin. You throw those people on there, this game's 100% a back.
I need pirate shenanigans, okay?
I just feel like, I don't know, did Johnny Depp, like, kill pirates for me?
Oh,
he did, like, a really good job of it, and it was...
Why'd you have to bring that up?
He did a good job. It was funny, right? But then I watched all the movies and stuff, and then I kind of got burnt out on it. So now I just don't know if I really like pirates anymore.
Oh, gosh,
wow,
Daniel.
your Arizona's showing, sir. I didn't name my island in Animal Crossing Arizona.
And he has pears on it, so he has, like, prickly pears.
You need to be stopped.
It wasn't me. It was tabletop backer party. Yes. So this
I
game,
like how the stories interact.
Yes, this game has an app that whenever you're making choices in the app, it does track those choices, and then different things can happen in the game per those choices in the app, which I have to say, I'm becoming a really big fan of that app-based gameplay along with the narrative game, because it allows you to have so many other choices happen in it, you know?
Well, this one, what I liked about it is that it links. So, like, when you put that information in there because they want to make sure that the stories are crossed, so that makes the players interact with each other. So you can't just, like, run off and be burying treasure, and then this person's over here making a pirate fleet. Like, when you put that in the app, it seems like that it's built in a way to make it so that you will cross paths at a certain point in time. And that's cool. Otherwise, you're just playing a bunch of little solitaire games.
Okay, so Mepper says, I think the game looks really good, and I'm fine with the app, but I'm still not going to back it. I have too many other Kickstarters I'm backing right now. I completely understand. Kabuki Kid says, I'm always interested in a good pirate game, still looking for the perfect
If you want, like,
one.
a hilarious, like, ridiculous, drunk on rum, kind of running around one, I would say Forgotten Waters is a really good one. Because all the stuff that happens is just ridiculous.
If this was a space-based game, though, Fatal Paper Cut, it would be totally fine, okay?
If it was a space western, I'd be into it.
Apparently, Glory Bear was sold with the monkey that they saw in the beginning of it, okay?
All right.
And Battlecry says, definitely needs more samurai in it. Mepper says, I pre-ordered Forgotten Waters. It's a great game. It also has an app. Absolutely. This is tough because the two games are somewhat similar in the fact that they're both pirate storytelling games. They both have apps involved in them, but in actuality, they are two
very different games.
Very different games.
Forgotten Waters is like a funny kind of like narrative game.
Very funny narrative game.
Silly, but in a good way, not like in a bad way. It's a silly,
and cooperative.
Right,
So,
cooperative narrative game where there's very little there's one die that you roll. It's more like an RPG.
It is. It is more like an RPG.
This one's more like a command game where you're like...
You have like a little bit of skirmishing going on.
Yeah, you've got battles that you're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
Like a Rising Sun or something where you're trying to actively do a goal and objective. I feel like this
It's
would
more
be
of an
closer
adventure
to
game.
this one would be closer to Western Legends, which unfortunately I haven't played. But I feel like this one's closer to like if you're gonna compare it, it'd be
And
closer
you
to
never
that.
will.
I know
you
you'll
never will.
let me play it. I feel like this one goes along more of that route though, because it is a sandbox game with different
Yes.
winning objectives. So I feel like it goes more of that route than it does the other one. I just don't think pirates are my favorite theme. Is the only thing that's got me. I'm telling you, put
That's
some
it. Get off my
cowboy
stream.
hats.
Get off my stream now.
Listen, your brother's a pirate, and it's nothing but trouble for the family.
It's nothing but trouble. Kabuki Kid says, I'm definitely interested in this, but I'm not backing anything at the moment either. Not until things are more salient. I completely understand with that, okay? And Kabuki Kid back Shiver Me Timbers a while back and is looking forward to getting that one. Absolutely. We had talked a little bit about that one as well.
You're deeply... I could see you liking pirates there, Daniel. You seem like a pirate person.
I think this game looks so cool. I love the story interaction. I love the fact that things can become lovers and nemesises in this game. I love the
fact that because like we're like always on that borderline where the cards almost flip, or sometimes you're like, oh, here you go, Dr. Gloryhogg, here, I made you lunch. And then other times you're like, you will pay for this.
I love the minis in this game. The minis look amazing. The only bad thing I had to say about any of the minis was this one right here, the Atlanteans. I was like, whoever did the sculpt for the 4 women holding the stave, like the staves in this, has never held a stave before. Like, what is the over the elbow thing? Like this? I don't know. I don't know what that is. That's the only thing I have. But other than that, everything looked amazing. I love the art in this game. The miniatures are fantastic. I love the app integration with this.
Yeah, I think the app integration in this will be pretty sweet.
Even the little islands and the map on this board game, it doesn't look like, I don't know, it doesn't have like a
clip art or something.
Not even just clip art. You know how most people put like the islands in the middle and like this one looks like an actual randomly generated map. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, like you're in a random part. You're not like in the perfect part where like the island's perfectly in the middle and then there's another island perfectly 3 meters away or whatever.
Right, exactly. Like this actually looks like somebody went ahead. It's the Caribbean Sea. Okay, perfect. I was like, it looks like a legit map. Well, that makes sense exactly why.
Boom,
like
you roasted.
Because
Boom,
it's a legit
roasted.
map.
Oh, it's weird how this looks so real.
Well, I thought that was really cool.
Wow.
I was like,
there's
wow.
Cubas right there. Come on.
Looks like,
come on, Gloryhoundd.
I was wondering if it was. But
you need to
sure.
expand your horizons and get outside of your Arizona bubble.
Listen, if I say something wrong on the internet, everybody's going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe that. So if I name something wrong...
That's actually how Fatal Papercut does their like yard work with their elbow out like that. Like
really? Same exact pose.
Yeah.
Really?
That's how I do all my samurai cuts. When I cut watermelon, like when you throw up the watermelon, I cut it, I always start back at whoosh,
Apparently I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
I did not realize. Apologies,
How do you
guys.
cut your watermelon?
I did not realize.
You need to embrace other cultures and learn things because they all have their own ways of doing things, and cutting a watermelon like that is the most sane way to do it.
I really enjoy, and look at the pirates. Look at these pirates.
Don't worry, I'll get her to watch some more BBC or something. Get some culture in this girl. I don't know what's going on. Doesn't even know that that's Cuba. It's Cuba.
This last one here, was it Captain Liu or Liu? I'm not sure how to say the captain's name, but the captain with the giant cannon.
Whoa.
I love that captain right now. Okay, I want to be that captain right now.
Well, I mean, as a person who's carried a cannon, I will say that I've never carried one over my shoulder like that. It's a shoulder cannon.
It is a shoulder cannon. That's how you do it. You do the shoulder cannon.
That's not true. I've actually seen somebody put a 240 Bravo on somebody's shoulder like that and shoot it. And it was like intense. It was like.
I have to say, this is the one I'm most excited about. And although people are comparing this to Forgotten Waters and
just because they're both pirate games.
I 100% am okay with like this one having both games because I feel like they're two completely different games, and I think this one looks fantastic. Right? Cannonballs are a girl's best friend, says Daniel.
So here's the thing. The reason why I brought up Forgotten Waters is because I feel like I need like X amount of pirate games, and I'm at X amount of pirate games. I don't know if I need like another pirate game.
How dare you?
Even if it's different. I think that's the problem.
How dare you, Dr. Gloryhogg?
I feel like that's the issue. I'm already full on pirate shenanigans. I'm trying to think how I can beat those pirate shenanigans by adding more pirates. I don't know. It's like, did we need a fourth
Here,
Johnny Depp pirate movie?
Jeremy
I don't know
says
if we did.
you're never gonna see the same game twice.
2 games that really caught my eye at PAX U. Sea of Legends is one of them. It says
Oh,
Daniel Zayas from
wow,
Tabletop
wow.
Backer Party. But
I didn't realize that
has
Daniel
Daniel
reviewed
Zayas
this.
ever actually played a game? Like I've seen him look at games,
Look at
but
games?
I've never seen him play one.
I've seen lots of game selfies.
I've seen his shelf is literally just 4 games. It's Battle of the Boy Bands. It's this game.
Ellen says, I think this pick of the week is both for DrGloryhogg and Hound. And Ellen, I'm going to have to say you're right. This is our pick of the week. This one
It's our pick of the week? Oh, so now you're backing it for me. Good to know. Here's the deal. Would I back this? No. Would I play this? Definitely. Am I upset if she wants to back this? No, I think this is the one I'm most likely to back. And that's all I have to say about that. Because this week, I'm going all in on not backing anything.
All right. Since this is a $90?
Yeah.
$90 for the base game on this here. Let me look. I didn't even look at the other stuff here. What comes in the all-in? This one includes, it looks like a bunch of the different people, the Atlanteans, all the other different like people on this here.
Right.
A bunch of different minis. So that makes sense why it's like 155 versus 90. Like that's an extra $60 that you're getting for all that extra plastic in the game, you know? That's kind of cool though that they only have like the
Kabuki.
2 pledge levels.
If you've
so
only
you don't
got
get
one.
confused.
I mean, I played Jamaica, so I mean, I'm pretty full up on pirate games.
No.
No, okay.
I don't like Jamaica.
That's a roll and move game.
I don't like Jamaica at all.
That's a roll and move game. It is what it is.
All right. So, and Fatal Paper Cuts, like told ya.
It's true.
I did that an extra just for Fatal Paper Cut today, okay? And Daniel says I demoed this one for reals.
Sure you did.
Pixar didn't happen, Daniel.
Yeah.
Pixar didn't happen. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Jamaica because it was too simple of a game for me. Like it was just
It's light.
movie. Yeah, it was too light for me. I shouldn't say simple. It was too light. It's a really good game for a lot of people. Mepper says my pick of the week is Adventures in Neverland. It's soaking up plenty of my money. That's right. And here's the tough part for us is those were my 2 choices. Was Adventures in Neverland and then Sea of Legends and going back and forth between those 2 games. So
if we had to do one of them, I would lean towards Sea of Legends.
Yeah, absolutely. So more booty awaits. Let us know in the comments if you guys are backing this. We are going to move on because, yeah, I'm backing this. It looks amazing.
So this is one that I actually wanted to talk about. Tapeworm. Bum, 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 bum. I love the art in this. It's stupid good.
Tapeworm is for 2 to 4 players.
Yeah.
It's going to last about, I don't
Bearded
know,
brother.
15 minutes. Let's get to some gameplay. I don't have
normally I hate these types of videos where they do like, you know, it's them talking about the game instead of just like showing gameplay or something, but they're actually pretty funny. He was a pretty funny guy. Whoever looks the most like a worm. His buddy does look like a worm.
You want to tell us a little bit about this game?
So Tapeworm it's going to probably end up in mass market, right? You'll probably see it at Target, which I'm actually happy for because these games get people into other games, right? Like if Munchkin wouldn't have been at a Waterloo, which is a local game store, and at like Barnes & Noble and Target, we would have never gotten into the hobby. Just plain and simple. Like Munchkin was the first game we bought, mass market-ish, that got us into deeper games.
Right.
This game is all about spatial, right? So you're putting things out. So it's kind of like you're trying to get the cards out of your hand by placing down different segments for the worms, and they have to be of a certain color. So say pink, and then you put down all your pink ones you can in order, while also trying to block other people and do some of these special abilities, right? Because it's got Uno-style cards that are like, let you take a card from somebody, let you discard cards, just do different things. Cut the worm and start off a new segment and do different things like that. So it's going to be in that kind of a step up from like an Uno, but definitely not like a hobby game either. So it's kind of like right in the middle. But I just thought the art was really cute. It is really cute and ugly at the same time. It's like, it's horrifyingly cute. Like, look at that really nervous worm. Look how nervous he is. He's so upset. He's got a very flat head. And that worm is just, I mean, come on. He's got little worm friends inside of him. You know you've got to be a rotten worm to have other worms inside of you.
So normally, we don't cover a whole bunch of games like this. But we covered, what was it, Here to Slay, and we got some good feedback on that. And there's lots of people out there looking for these games.
He has quarantine hair. So these games are, like we've talked about before, though, because we've covered games that can bring people into the hobby. And
yes.
The Binding of Isaac is already, or the Souls of Isaac, that's already in Target and stuff, right? And so people pick up that game and it leads them to other games, right?
Absolutely.
Ticket to Ride is in Target for a reason. Most of this one has all of their reviews are based off people that are more like kind of video game media type people instead of like board game specific groups.
Right. So here's the thing. The video game market, like, it's coming to our market, everyone. Like, that's just the end of it.
Yeah.
There are manufacturers in the board game market that are trying to hit the mass market group. So you're going to see more of this, and you're going to see more of that integration and pooling and meshing everything together. So games like this, although some people might scoff at them and be like, "Oh, well, this is just a mass market game." Mass market games are really important, and they're really important for our hobby and growing our hobby and reaching out to those people. This particular game here, I was not a huge fan of the art in it. Like, I am not a huge fan of the art. Yeah,
I think the art's really cool.
And I think
I would pick this up. This is a game I could see picking up while I'm at a Target. Like, as I'm doing other shopping, I'm like, oh, cool, what is this? And pick it up.
Because it has like a weird sort of like look to it.
Yeah,
Like,
because of the art, especially because of the art. And then, like, I think our kid has hit the peak where, since we started playing things like King of Tokyo at 2 and stuff, it's probably too high for. This is probably too low, I'm sorry, of a standard for our kid, just because she's been playing more advanced games for longer. But I could see bringing this one out too, like, you're going camping with the family, and you got all the uncles and aunts there and all the cousins, and you're like, oh, let's just play a game. It's kind of going to be a light, fun, silly game, and I think the art is kind of appealing. I don't know. I think it's like Here to Slay was, right? It's appealing. It's to get people into playing games. It's one that Exploding Kittens, you know, the unicorns game, Unstable Unicorns. It's going to fall into
burrito,
that throw burrito, right?
Yeah.
It falls in right, all those oatmeal-based games, stuff like that. It's going to be one of those games that's very entry level. It's probably fun to play a few times, but since we have so many more in-depth games, it's something that we play once or twice, and then we'd be like, all right, I'm ready to move on to something with more meat to it. It's going to be a light kind of like snack
in between game, a snack game, but not snack game because I don't want to eat worms. Okay.
How do you eat
this
fried
game
worms?
is $15. $15. So they didn't overprice it or anything like that.
Burrito and some chips.
You're trying to basically get rid of all of your cards from your hand, and you're trying to do it in a really sneaky way that you can build out worms. And I really think the designer specifically talked about this, that they wanted a game that was easy to teach people, but also had a level to it where you really had to think about what you were placing out. And I think that's the ordering cards and putting them out as fast as you can portion of it.
Right. I want to address some of the comments here. One, they're not intestines, Kabuki. These are tapeworms that you've swallowed. So that's why there's 4 different tapeworms. And so you're just kind of going through them. Alan, I think it will hit pretty big in stuff like Target or at a GameStop. And I only say that because this project, I think he wanted like 20,000 and it's at like 600,000. So like, and it's if you super funded. And go ahead.
If you look at some of the other ones that we've looked at today comparatively, I mean,
this is up
Sea
there.
of Legends is just about at 200,000. This is another board game, video game based one, which you're sitting at 800,000, and then you're looking at Neverland, which is 300,000. Okay, so
the most funded ones are these kind of more mass market ones, like Unstable Unicorns and like Here to Slay. Those things hit 2 million, 3 million.
And here's the important thing: is you introduce these things to your families and your friends and people that you go to. People, you know, coming to a board game night the first time, and it gets people started and familiar with aspects of newer games and game styles, and then you can lead them into other things, you know, or even just give these as gifts to like I know that we gave gifts to the grandparents.
Oh, right. Like we
did
like Finger Guns and Just One. It's some of those games that are more those kind of
filler
games.
Leading towards filler and mass market games. Absolutely.
Right. Because let's just be honest, not everyone you meet is going to want to sit down with Terraforming Mars the first time. It kind of doesn't have that pop off appeal that goes, oh my gosh, what is this? With this, we get people kind of interested based off of it. Like we got so many people to play games from things like Exploding Kittens where they're like, what is this? Oh, this is so silly. And then you lead into another game. So it might not be for us personally, but like I wouldn't be upset having this in our collection. We just happen to have a lot of these types of games.
Tabletop Backer Party says publishers lean on the numbers for these in buy-in for companies like Target and etc. So this should have a big second splash. Absolutely. That's a very important point to bring up. is that they'll look at this and go, oh, okay, we want this in our store, and just throw it in. Then you're going to see it in every Walmart and Target that you have there, you know?
Yeah.
And Nick says $600K for a $15 game. That's a lot of backers.
It is.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's $15 a lot of times, okay? Johnny says the shipping is $21 to Europe with the base costing $36. Hard pass. Totally understand.
What is our kid doing? Talking about how the worms are not social distancing?
They're too close together.
That's true. They are too close together. That is correct. Hand sanitizer.
So I think that Ronnie brings up a really great point because we're not in Europe and we don't always look at those costs. So that's really important. That's
shipping
really
can really kill things. I honestly, and this sounds elitist of me, I try not to look at shipping because for me, once you add $20 onto a game, sometimes it just kills it for me. So I try not to look because for me, money is a big thing, right? And so like I over stress about it. So if I don't look at it, it doesn't hurt me.
And then this year they
Life
do
hack.
the $15 is
Life
like
hack.
the base game portion. And
I like
then
that there's the foily version for $25.
Yes, the $25, which they're going to add all the extra Kickstarter stuff in there. It's foiled, holographic stuff. Like, it's going to look amazing. If this does go to Target, which it will, you can have your really special, pretty one that you can, of course, gloat to everybody about, which is the huge thing.
Well, this is a game, like we had somebody recently saying, like, what would be a good game to take to college? This is a good one to take to college, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's going to fall to that same kind of like Cards Against Humanity, that very kind of light social gaming thing where it's supposed to be a game that you play while talking. It's not a sit down, head scratcher, think about your turn for 30 minutes, which is fine.
Well,
everybody
hold on,
needs different games for different things.
I think that this one has a little bit more than people are thinking because putting these cards down in the right order to get all of them out of your hand at the right time, and then you have people cutting segments off and everything. Here's the thing is I don't think this is just a like throw burrito.
No, it's not going to be super light.
Or whatever the cat game is, because that one is like a hot potato style game, whereas this one has a little bit more depth into it. That's what I'm trying to say.
You want me to make you mad real quick?
Oh, no.
This is a hot take, all right? I just thought of this. There's not really any difference between this game and Arboretum. Because Arboretum is just a simple card game where you're trying to get your cards out and you get points. Now, different mechanisms, of course.
True.
But this is the same type of thing. It's a card game where you're trying to get your cards out. There's nothing different.
And you're trying to get
this.
them in a certain order.
Right. There's nothing different between this, Uno, Arboretum, Phase 10.
This one here, you have an easier way of discovering a winner.
That's true. That's true. So there's nothing different than this than some of the other fillers. Now,
instead of Arboretum.
Everyone's fillers are going to be different, right? Like Arboretum's going to appeal more to somebody who wants to play a more sophisticated board game. But there's people that like weird stuff, like all those goths that you're friends with would probably love this game. This would be great to take over and play with Carrie and Dave and stuff. They probably all think this is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So you got to have different games for different folks, right? I mean, even we don't play some of our games with certain people because it just doesn't work. Like our kid doesn't play Barrage with us. But we also don't bring King of Tokyo with us to game days all the time. There's different games for different people.
Member says, in my mind, everyone playing this loses.
That's kind of funny. Yeah, this is very much like the worm game that you had like on your calculator or something as a kid, or that's how old I am. I had the worm game on my TI-82 scientific calculator, Texas Instruments, that I would play with in math class in 7th grade.
Kabuki Kid, I really like Arboretum scoring, but there's a lot of people that don't like Arboretum scoring at all. So, wow, someone is on this hot topic shame wagon.
Yeah. I'm just saying, for me, the reason why I bring up these games is because although it might not hit my table very often, it's a game that definitely is hitting people's tables at $600,000.
Absolutely. And if you're looking to get people into games or you want to play something that is mass market but maybe more interesting than just a simple game, then this would be it. Because there's a lot more going on in this game than what you think.
I can objectively say I dislike Pokemon the card game. But I'm glad that it was cute enough to get my brother to play so that I could get him into Magic the Gathering.
Right.
Now, if I would have been a little bit younger, it might have hit me better. I like Pokemon, the Game Boy game and stuff, and on my phone and all that's fine. I liked the rest of the franchise. I even watched the show a little bit. But the Pokemon card game, since I had played Magic for 2 or 3 years before Pokemon came out, I was just like, why would I ever play this over Magic? But I'm glad it exists because it got so many people went Pokemon into Magic, right? And so you need games like this to get... This leads into Scythe. I'm telling you, this leads to Scythe. Actually, no, this probably leads to Dead Man's Cabal, which is another skeleton game. And then you go from like Dead Man's Cabal to like Wasteland Express or something. So if this game can lead people to Wasteland Express, a 2-hour pick up and deliver game, I'm all in, baby. I'm all in.
So Daniel says, I play a lot of games with people who consider the adventures complex. So
Yeah.
a different breed of gamers is perfectly fine to add to the hobby.
Fine.
100%, absolutely. I have to say, for me, the only thing that I personally did not like about this game was the fact that I'm not a huge fan of this particular art in this game. But
Which
I
I'm
like
surprised. I thought
the
you would have liked this art.
I really like the mechanics in this because of how you're trying to place out your cards, and I love the building portion of it where you're trying to build everything off. Like because I like that planning portion.
You like
you know?
spatial awareness games.
Yes, I love
And I struggle with them
spatial awareness
so much.
games. So I'm gonna look at my hand. I'm gonna order everything the way I want it, and then I'm gonna build like the best like worm connection out here. Okay, so
I'm just down with this art. I don't know why. I like it.
you really like the art.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
think the art's cute.
I think for $15, this is like a back. This is a back for $15.
Hey, if I could, for $15, I could get a real tapeworm and lose like 10 pounds, I'm all in. I'm all in. What? You're telling me you wouldn't eat a tapeworm
Battle
to
Cry
lose some
says
weight?
winner gets a tapeworm. No thanks.
Hey, I'm going to really shock some of you people here. Some of you already have tapeworms and don't know it.
This game has more substance.
You guys eating fish?
What is that cat
What?
game from the oatmeal? I can't even remember it right
Exploding
now.
kittens.
This game has
Yeah.
more substance than Exploding Kittens.
That's probably true.
And there's tons of people that loved Exploding Kittens.
The best thing about Exploding Kittens was dropping down that hard nope. Like,
Exploding Kittens
nope on a rope.
was just the potato game, pass the potato or whatever it is. That's all Exploding Kittens is,
That's true.
you know?
That's true.
And this one here, you have a lot more thinkiness, I think, to it.
Art is
So-
always personal preference. It's like a lot of games. I feel like if there was a way to really review a game with just the mechanics and no theme on it, which I would find extremely boring, would be very interesting to see which games that I would have normally passed on because of the theme, that playing it themeless, I enjoyed the mechanics of it, that if you just put a theme I liked on it would work.
Right.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense? I feel like I was a really long way of saying that everything's subjective.
And
Even your face is subjective. Your face.
Art-
Your face.
whenever I always
Sorry.
talk about the art, it is 100% subjective.
Yeah.
But I think that it's important for somebody to know that why I'm not backing something isn't because of the mechanics of it. It may just be because of the art. Because then that just lets everybody out there know, okay, this is simply just like a creative preference for that person, as opposed to, oh,
Right.
this game sucks. You know,
Yeah, the worst
that's
thing you
not
can
it.
do is tank a game because you don't like the art.
Oh, absolutely.
I won't name names, but I feel like that's the worst thing you can do.
It's happened before
It's
in
like
the past.
theme. The reason why I tell you I don't like a theme is so that you know that that's leading into my
Their decision.
right, because
Right.
everything matters. Theme, art, the company that makes it sometimes, the components, the mechanic, like all of that stuff matters when you're gonna play a game, right? Because it's got to have like these 5 perfect things to be a perfect fit for you.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it doesn't always work. Sometimes there's games that I really thought I would enjoy and they just fell flat for me, and vice versa. So
Absolutely.
Barrage has like the worst theme. I could care less about damming water, but it ended up being a really fun to play game.
2-player game, yeah, absolutely.
No,
And-
just a fun game to play is what I
a
said.
fun game to
yeah.
play. Yeah.
But the theme like did not do anything for me.
Well, and I think that's a huge part of just picking your board game in general is things like Barrage that you poo-pooed on Barrage.
Yeah, I
like
poo-pooed
on
on
our
Barrage.
Kickstarter
Yeah.
show.
It's true.
Like you so hard hated that game.
Because it sounds
so
so
hard.
boring. You're like, oh, I'm gonna dam up some water.
But once you played it, you loved it. But it was because you're
Mhm.
like at the time you didn't like the art, you didn't like the
idea of
the
the
idea
game. Yeah.
of the game. And
Because
stuff.
I play games to have fun. It's the same thing with a video game. I'm not going to pick up a video game that looks like it's going to be boring. Like, I don't want to name any video games, but if it looks boring and it's a theme I don't like, I'm not going to play it, right? I'm not
Right.
going to spend my free time playing something I
and
don't
your
feel
money,
like is fun.
your money, you know.
Exactly. And everybody's like that. It's like, why would you buy art that you don't think looks pretty and put it up in your house? I don't care if it's the most critically acclaimed Mona Lisa art ever. If I don't think it looks good, I'm not putting it up in my house because I got to stare at the stupid thing every day. I do like the Mona Lisa. Do not at me. Yeah, because it's weird. I like weird themes. I like Wasteland Express. I like weird themes. Tidal Blaze. I like anything that's kind of weird and out of the ordinary. I like things that are innovative, like Wingspan. So gosh darn innovative.
So gosh darn innovative, guys. Wingspan.
Trash Pandas is a
hashtag
cute game because
Wingspan
because
humble
it's-
brags.
because it's pandas trying to collect fish. This is my fish. Like I like that because it's weird.
I don't care if it's
I like
the
weird.
best dang cat in a vampire outfit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I like weird and I marry weird and that's okay. You know, it took her
Wow.
30-something years to realize that she's kind of a goth. She didn't know until she dyed her hair red, apparently. Who knew?
I didn't know.
She didn't know.
I didn't know.
That she's slightly a goth with all the bats and cats and vampires and all the black.
Somewhat
Never
offended.
knew it.
I was somewhat offended
She was
whenever
a little mad
people
to find
said,
out that.
yeah, and I was like, I am not. And then I turned around and looked, and I was like, I maybe, and yeah, maybe.
She might be a goth, a little bit, like, tiny bit. So here's the deal. This week is a rare treat. I say I would back none of them.
None of them?
Which is, I don't think I've done that ever. I don't think. Yeah, because I mean, I'm gonna give you my honest opinion, and there's none of these that I would just immediately back right now. I think that you are talking me more into Sea of Legends.
Yeah.
But I think because I just want Western Legends so bad,
Okay.
that I just like, if it was, I know it's dumb, but that's literally the reason why I'm like kind of like harshing on Sea of Legends, because I just want Western Legends really badly.
Yeah.
But I think Sea of Legends would be a safe bet, but I'm not ready to hit the back button immediately right now.
Ronnie says, let's
Need
just
more convincing.
all buy Wingspan if it's the only game you need in your collection from now on. That's right. Because Wingspan fulfills all needs for all gamers, okay?
We backed Frosthaven, right?
We did back
Okay.
Frosthaven, absolutely.
You know what? Western Legends is something that she doesn't like Western games, so it was like
Yeah.
a pass for her. And
Which-
I've almost bought it like 3 or 4 times. Every time I see it, I'm
That
close.
goes right into our thing with like, it's a perfectly good game. I know it's a good game, but for some reason I feel like my gameplay will be diminished by just my hatred for Western themed things.
But see, like we played Jaws the other night, and I really like Jaws the movie, and I enjoyed it. And I don't know what your opinions were overall on Jaws, but I thought for like a game that you pick up at Target, I thought it actually was pretty interesting. There were some parts that I was a little iffy on, but I've also only played it once.
Yeah.
So theme matters. Let's just get down to it. Theme matters.
Theme does matter. Theme matters.
She just
theme,
doesn't like Westerns, and she's
mechanics.
worse for it.
Components, like you have to have the whole box.
Here's the
of
thing.
stuff.
If it's going to be space, it's got to be a space Western, and then I'm in. If it's just space, maybe it'd be a pass for me. I'm just saying, that's what it is. Everybody's got their
Oh my
things that they like.
goodness.
It's like the games that are all like based off of art and museums and stuff. Like, there's got to be something else about it to hook me. Otherwise, I'm just like, cool, it's a game about
I want to back
museums.
Sea of Legends this week.
That's the one?
I want to back Sea of
You're
Legends
getting close
really
to
bad.
talking me into it. You just got to keep whispering it sweetly in my ear, and then I'm probably down.
I want to back Sea of Legends this week.
She knows I'm mostly deaf. That's why she did it that way. Yeah, no, theme matters a lot. I don't want to play a game that's ugly. I don't want to play a game that looks like it's not fun.
Listen, with Western themed games, I have to stare at the brown Western space
That's
all
true.
the time, and I get bored of it.
I think that's the
So-
problem, though. Like, I see the beauty of the West, and you just don't necessarily. There's the painted rocks,
Wingspan in space, space birds.
all those national forests. Come on, even dirt can be pretty.
Well, thank you to everybody who showed up today and hung out with us in chat. We always appreciate all of you and all of your comments in chat. Make sure to leave which game you are backing this week. I don't even care if it's on our list this week. Just drop them in there, and maybe it'll be something that we didn't catch and we want to take a look at
Oh
later.
my God,
you
I
know?
can't figure out how to switch profiles on YouTube.
Johnny says, I'm really happy that games have gotten much prettier
Yes.
and more thematic than last decade. Yes,
Agreed.
100%.
That's what
It's
keeps me off of
amazing.
Euros even today. Even Euros that I know are highly acclaimed, because they just don't look good. Carpe
It's
Diem.
harder, yeah.
Carpe Diem did not look good. I played it and I liked it. I was surprised. But here's the one thing I'll say: I might be turned off from a game, but I will at least try it.
There's a game about
And
doing
I will
laundry.
change my opinion if the game is good.
It needs help. That's not the coin laundry one. This is a different one that came out, right?
Doing laundry. I don't know if I
Yeah.
saw that one. I'll have to look.
I know that what is it? The
John Draper.
John Draper coin laundry one looks really cool. I saw that one again at PAX, and I'm just like, man, but it's a dexterity based game, and I'm not big into dexterity based
That's fair.
games, so but it
That's
looks so cool. It is cool, but not so gosh darn innovative.
The most important thing you guys can do, besides liking and subscribing, of course,
is of course liking Wingspan
in the
and our
comments.
channel.
Let us know which of these games you're backing, because I'm interested to see what everybody backs each week.
Yeah.
Like, I like to
I
know,
do- I
because
am
it's hard
too.
to keep up with
I
it
am
in
too.
chat sometimes. I like to know what people are actually going in and backing.
They're
then I
number
can-
one.
Right, so then I can go back and hit you up and be like, okay, have you got it? Is it good? And definitely
Right.
update us. Alan's really good about saying, hey, I got this game and then I played it and it was good,
Absolutely.
or it did this or that, and I like that. I like that. The review, the mini reviews for the ones we can't back because I can't afford them all.
If you like the show, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Tell your friends,
God.
share it into the world. We always appreciate that. And what else are we doing?
Unlike COVID-19,
No.
we don't need any social distancing. Please, 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 share us like a plague.
What are we doing this week?
In the Hall of the Mountain King.
Okay, that's right. In the Hall of the Mountain King.
Oh, yeah.
Also, we're going to be talking to Bezier Games about their upcoming games happening in 2020. So there's 3 of them. There's the Silver Coin series, there's Whistle Mountain, and then there's another one that's coming out that we're going to be talking about on Tuesday, I believe. I believe it's on Tuesday. Idea. I'm going to set it up here soon. I'm going to set it up today. So stay tuned for that, everyone. I'm really excited to be talking to Bezier Games about that. And if you guys like that series, we may add more of those and talk to more publishers about their upcoming products for 2020, since we're not really able to go to a bunch of conventions and stuff right now. So kind of be able to bring that news to you guys would be really awesome. I'm really excited about that.
Word.
Yes. Whistle Mountain is going straight to retail. These are going to be straight to retail games that we're going to be talking about, but we're going to be talking about it directly with the publishers in an interview chat. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh yeah, we are playing Hall of the Mountain King on Sunday.
We are.
We're also playing a cool game on my birthday, which is coming up next month.
Absolutely. It was Maglive. I don't know how to say it though. Maglive? Live?
Maglive?
I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up, Mepper. I got the information for it, and I haven't finished the build out with everything in it. So
nice.
Absolutely. Okay,
but,
no games for me
basically, we're going to have more games coming up. In Hall of the Mountain King will be our next.
That's right.
On Sunday.
All right. So stay tuned for that. Again, thank you for everybody that showed up today and left comments in the channel. We really appreciate it. And we will see all of you later in the week.
The show not sponsored by Wingspan.
No, sponsored by Tabletop Backer Party.